Peace. Supreme Understanding. How to hustle and win, hustleandwin.com, supremedesignonline.com, you know, all that good stuff. On the way to Alabama right now. Got a little speaking engagement. Expansion Books out in Huntsville. Beautiful place. You should visit if you're in the area. Is a camera on me? I don't even know. Anyway, something just, came to my mind. Like, I hadn't done a video in a minute. You know what I mean? At least not a video of me. And, just wanted to talk about some things. And I figured I would talk about, ancient civilizations, you know? We're working on this book called Science Itself. The Science Itself is going to be like a follow-up to Knowledge Itself, but it's going to go a lot deeper. It's going to go into, science and history and a lot of things that people, may not really be too comfortable with, you know? And hey, today I just, wanted to talk about, ancient civilizations. This kind of stuff is in the book. That's actually going to be more in volume 2, right? Because it's like so far we got like 5 volumes planned because there's just so much information that people just don't know about. And the reason why we're putting this book out is because we want to know our history. We want to know our roots. We want to know the science of reality. We want to understand how everything works and where we fit in this big equation. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people that's out here profiteering off of our ignorance. And because we don't know, we don't even have the tools to tell the truth from the lies. So some of us hop out of one religion that we felt was unhealthy and hop right into another that we think is telling us the truth about ourselves. And really, it's just, it's just more wrong information. Which wouldn't be so bad if some of this information wasn't used to exploit us or keep us from being actively involved in things that could really better our situations, or at least providing us some sort of tools to to better handle our conditions, because a lot of this is just escapism. So science itself is going to be like the medicine for that. This is the antidote. The antidote to all the lies, all the BS, and all the misinformation that's out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good information out there. What we want to do is we want to give people the tools to be able to tell what's what. We want to give people the tools to decode what's real and what's factual and what has some evidence to it and what is just something that some dude came up with and is now pushing as his platform so that he can stay on top of the game. And we're going to equip you with the tools to be able to tell, because we weren't taught that in school. We weren't taught critical thinking. We weren't taught the scientific method. We weren't taught how to evaluate research, and so we kind of fall victim as a result. Let's get into these ancient civilizations, right? What do ancient civilizations have to do with us? Well, I mean, they provide the foundation for, what's happening right now. Hold on, I made this turn. There we go. Oh, yellow light, let's go. Okay, all right. So they provide the foundation for, what's happening today. Bottom line is, there's nothing new under the sun, so anything that's happening in Western civilization, anything that's happening in American civilization, already happened, and we did it. We built it. And I'm not just talking about Egypt. Of course, I'm talking about Egypt, but I'm talking about a lot of other civilizations we don't even know about. We focus on Egypt because white people have celebrated Egypt, and white people was like, yo, Egypt is the greatest thing ever. Then they figured out that it was black, and then they started, trying to switch up the story. But we know Egypt was a great center of civilization, but we don't know about some of the other ones. There's others that are indisputably black that we can talk about. And then there's some that, white people have done their little work to be like, nah, that wasn't black. But what we're going to do is we're going to document not just the accomplishments of the civilization, but how they were built, how they were peopled, meaning like how the people came to live in those places and do what they did, where they came from. And through doing all that, and with all the other evidence, show you that, nah, these was black people, black men and women building these civilizations. And also what it does is it allows us to see the foundation of where people on this planet come from. Like when we look at, Asian people or South American people, like you may not know that the earliest people of those civilizations were dark skinned and had some strong African features. Now, the thing about African features is Africa got a variety. Like Africa's the most diverse place on the planet, genetically, phenotypically, which means appearance-wise, and in so many other ways, linguistically, even culturally, right? I mean, there is a lot of cultural unity there, but there's a lot of diversity, right? So you're going to find so many different types of people there that when you look at the people who live in like India, the black people in India, you find coarse and wavy hair. You don't find what you would associate as a stereotypical black hair texture. So people think there's such a thing as black hair, not necessarily. You know, people think there's such a thing as a specific type of black nose, not necessarily. Because you go into East Africa and you look at certain people in East Africa, they have the Nilotic nose is a lot more narrow than the nose in West Africa. You go from West to East Africa, you're gonna see a very big difference, and it's not because of white folks, it's just genetic diversity. But we're gonna break all that down. We're gonna show people how to make sense of all that. We're gonna tell people about the civilizations that was in South Africa 60,000 years ago, where they had formulas for a compound glue, and they was using the the principles of engineering to, like, develop, I mean, simple things. They wasn't building no huge monuments because back then we didn't have that stratification of society where, there was this big I and little u, and a whole bunch of people at the bottom and a few little people on top. We didn't really have that back then. That's something more recent, So back then we didn't need to build all them damn monuments. Hold on, let me eat my cookie. So we had other things going on. We had other things that didn't leave as much evidence, but don't worry, I got some evidence. My stuff is research based. I mean, like, you can go look, check out my sources. White folks gonna hate it. White folks is gonna hate it. They gonna hate it because, see, I have a doctorate, right? I'm using their methodology. I'm using all the highest standards of academic research to prove my points. So you're gonna have to really be a thorough person to say nah. You have to really know something, and even if you say nah, like, it don't matter, because the evidence is overwhelming. Like, it's obvious that the people of India are black. You can just go there and look, right? You can go to, where else? China, where it's not as evident, right? And you look at all the people throughout the area, like in Southeast Asia, and all the people that's living in the forests and the jungles now, they're dark skinned, right? Go to the Philippines, go further out, you see more dark skinned people. You got some people that are the pygmies. You got some people that have, woolly hair that we associate with the West African type. You know what I mean? You see, like, not just West African. You know what I mean? It's like a gang of the whole fucking region of Africa. Um, and then you see a little further east, you go to like New Guinea, and you see motherfuckers jet black. They jet black over there, and they got different types of hair textures and all that over there too. But they jet black. And you know where they came from, and they did the genetic test to prove that those people are descended from from Africa, came maybe what 40,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago, and just stayed, you know, and we're gonna talk about what they built, the cultures that they had, and we're gonna talk about their cultural practices, and we're gonna talk about what they knew about themselves and the science of themselves. We're gonna talk about what people in the first Indians, the first Native Americans. What was the science behind them? Like, were they black? Yeah, they were black. Um, First skull from the Americas was black. Had all the black traits and everything. And when they reconstructed her as a black woman. She, matter of fact, she has all the features of an Australian Aborigine. That's another story. Don't talk about the history of those people, because they've been there for what? Longer than 50,000. They might have been there for about 60,000 years. And then you got the Andamanese Islanders, right? These are the people that they live off these Andaman Islands off the southeast coast of India, right? Man, go look up a picture of them. Andaman Islanders. Look up a picture. That's all you gotta do, right? These people have been in Asia, and they're considered the oldest population in Asia. They've been in Asia for what, 50,000 years. They're the only surviving, like, original black population from that time period that's still in Asia, that's still living. White folks are trying to kill the hell out of them. Like, that's what they do. Like, white people know when they go over there that they're gonna bring their damn diseases, and we ain't got an immunity to they sick ass diseases. Not naturally. You know what I mean? Like, me and you might, but like, the original people? Nah. That's what happened to when white people went into East Africa. All these people that I was talking about earlier, these East African people, like a gang of them died because the smallpox killed them. It's the same thing that happened to Native Americans. Look at what happened to the Maasai in East Africa. When white people got there and started trying to build and started trying to take over Africa, man, the Maasai, I think what, 1/3 of them or 2/3 of them died off? It's no joke. And they doing the same thing to the Andaman Islanders, right? And it's to the point where damn near everybody that's on the Andaman Islands is like fighting for survival. There's only a few of them left. And there's this one people called the Sentinelese, as in Sentinel, right? They're the only ones that ain't going nowhere because they will not let nothing get on their island. If you come on their island, if you come on their island, they will kill you, chop off your arms, chop off your legs, put your stump, put your body, your torso in the sand on the beach, set you on fire for everybody to see as they pass by, because the boats be passing by. They want you to see that. They want you to see what's going to happen if you come by their way, because they know what happens when they let people in. Now, we may not know anymore, but they still know. Man, they be shooting arrows at the helicopters and hitting them. They got one, I can show you one picture, and we're going to have it in the science stuff. There's one picture of a Sentinelese brother, jet black, on the shore, on the beach, looking up at a helicopter. Word is bond, I cannot make this up. He is grabbing his nuts. He is grabbing his nuts and basically telling, and this is the interpretation, they was like, yo, he was basically saying, fuck us. He was grabbing his nuts. I cannot make this shit up. So they just show you how deep-rooted, like, we got to get into the science. We got to know about ourselves. We got to know, like, that, oh, man, it's so much. Like, I can't even, that's why it's got to be 5 volumes. I can't even, like, discuss it all. Like, that right there that I just went into could, like, fill up an entire book by itself. Oh, man, let me eat my cookie. Talk to y'all later. Peace.